Hello everyone, I'm Sherry from Liberal Tarot, and what I want to do today in this video is to make this be kind of like a primer of how do we get through the Tower card. And I'm going to be putting it into the context of the United States and these current events of what we're going through and probably getting ready to go through. But this really does apply. These same principles apply, no matter where you are in your life whenever you come to those Tower card moments. So I've had a few days to set with my November energy reading. You guys are just now seeing that November energy reading. I also know what a lot of the other intuitives are getting, and it appears like we could really be coming up on something kind of big. And that's why I wanted to do this primer on how do we make it through the Tower card, because we're going to need all of our skill set that we have in order to successfully make it through this. So this is a way of kind of what is our responsibility and how do we make it through this. So I'm going to pull you guys down here for this. Okay, so I am using the cards from the Sacred Rose Tarot. In fact, these cards, the Star card and the the Star card and the Tower card in this deck, this is my favorite representation of these principles that I'm going to be talking to you about. Okay, so as I said, these principles can be applied, to personal situation, and absolutely, I'm going to, be putting it into the context of what we're going through as a country. Okay, so I want to start our story, our journey, based on Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey, back to the Hermit card. Okay, this right here, the Hermit card. Let me show that. This card is, it's seeking a righteous path. It's also known as the dark night of the soul. And here we find one star lighting the way. One star of hope. And if you think about that in your own life, when you've had those dark night of the soul moments and how you feel afterwards, it's like this cleansing that you're left with. And typically, like you feel better. So like that's the beginning of that star of hope right there. And we've had this with the resistance. I know me personally, back in November after the election, I didn't watch one bit of news until Elon Musk broke into the Treasury Department that first weekend after the inauguration. Was it the first, second? It was early on. And then I started my channel shortly thereafter. And so I found my star of hope. And at this point, we've all found that star of hope in something, even if it's, our country, our democracy, to sustain us on this journey. And we're growing. Okay, the resistance, this star of hope is growing. And then that's going to take me to these cards right here. Okay, let me see where I am with my notes. Now, one reason that I absolutely love these cards in this deck and the way it's represented is, okay, first of all, you've got the Tower card, which is 16. You've got the Star card that comes up right after it, which is 17. Okay, so our star here that we found, our, star of hope, has grown to now this is where we are. And I do see this a lot. And in fact, I am going to start reading this card as the resistance. And it really is. We are holding the line for democracy. We are embodying our Constitution every time we stand up for our Constitution. Okay? And then the reason I like these cards in tandem in this deck is look at this card. The light is coming out from within. Yes, there's bigger lights here, that it's like, well, is that coming from above? It's like, no. The Tower card in this deck, it's the light from within that is shedding that which no longer serves us. And then what's left after that, after we've, broken all of this down, after the tower is collapsed, we're not left with nothing. We're left with the Star card. Okay, so, Another thing that I spoke about in the reading that you're going to be seeing on Monday, it's the numerology, intuitive thoughts, and final tarot message for November, is an authoritarian needs to have pillars of society in order to succeed. And we're seeing disruptions in those pillars everywhere. And I talk about that in that reading. So I'm not going to go through all of those here. But we're seeing those disruptions. We're seeing people shining their light into this darkness. Okay. And our light is only going to continue to grow and shine brighter and brighter. In fact, the darker they are, we are going to have the equal and opposite reaction of shining even brighter. And our light absolutely will outshine their darkness. And that's evidenced in these cards right here. And all we have to do is look at society, like what, of what happens, the pendulum swings, the wheel turns, use any analogy that you want. But, we, the people, have a say. And as this Tower card is happening and we're seeing it. I mean, the Republicans are getting ready to revolt against Trump. Where I'm not going to go through all of the things that we're seeing. As I said, I go through that in that energy reading, part 3 in November of 2025, just in case this video survives later down the road. So the main thing to know is that it's our light that is also bringing about this change. We are going to be the catalyst for positive change. When this falls down, this is the next card. This is what we're left with. Okay. Now what I want to do is I kind of want to shift to the numerology just a little bit, especially with this deck. As I said, I love the symbology in this deck, especially for what I'm doing right now. I use the United States birthday of July 4th, 1776, and our personal months as a country for October is the Empress. How do we take care of people? November is the Emperor, who is our leader. What do we want our leader to embody? And then what comes out after that is then the Hierophant, the spirit of our country. What is the spirit of those institutions? What is the spirit? What is left after, the fall? What is left? And it's our hopes, wishes, and dreams. What is it that we aspire to be a country? Now, we're not a perfect country, but what are those aspirations that, and those truths that we hold sacred? Okay. And if you notice in all of the major arcana in this deck, it's all got the stars here. We've all got that, then this is, I'm going to geek out a little bit on the Jungian, psychology, that collective unconscious, that we're dipping into this, but I digress. Okay. So we are absolutely grappling with who are we as a country? How do we take care of people? What do we want our leader to be like? Who do we want our leader to be? And then here we are, with the Hierophant, and how are we rebuilding the spirit of these institutions to serve the people? Okay. Now, what's going to be bringing about this change? Honestly, I really don't know. I know that one scenario is that, and I have always said it's going to be something about the Epstein files. It's going to be like a survivor that has undeniable evidence of Trump's transgressions. Well, now we got a whole bunch of stuff going on in England. And so would England, will they release something? Will a survivor over there release something? Very possibly. That actually, regardless of the tower, of this, that actually really is a strong possibility. And would that not be a Tower card moment for this administration? Now, I'm not going to fearmonger. I just want to make us very clear on, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. If those Epstein files comes out, we know that Trump is going to try to move the news cycle, and he will have to do it with something even more explosive. Okay. And I'm using that word because remember, the energy that rules the Tower card is that Pluto energy. And he's been wandering around, musing about, nuclear weapons. Now, for us that are Gen X, we're going to take a collective deep breath. We survived watching The Day After. Oh my God, that was awful. And we are not going to fall for the fear that he is going to try to incite, okay? I'm just mentioning that because, yeah, and he's wanting a war with Venezuela. Would that not fit this card? Our military will not obey an illegal order, okay? So just know that our military will have our back, okay? And I've got some notes here. And really, I think that with him, kind of musing about those nuclear weapons, I think that our military is going to be having some very serious conversations. Actually, I truly feel like those conversations are already being had. And that, he wants to use fear to control the masses. And that's what he's trying. And, we are standing up to that in our truth that we found through that dark night of the soul and our hope. Okay. That is what we're embodying. And so I was mentioned Gen X. I found this really kind of, funny. I know most of you guys that watch my channel are in that age range. So we use dark humor and snark to deal with difficult times. Other people may call it trauma, okay. But like, this was a survival skill that we learned, and now look at how we're using it. And I will continue using that here on this channel because laughter is a form of resistance, and we're going to do it any way we can. And Gen X, we know how to do it in ways that probably just horrify others, but we're still going to do it, okay? Another Gen X mantra is fuck you, make me, otherwise known as do not obey in advance. Okay, our moment to shine has come. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to find that hope. And the one last card that I wanted to show you with the star card, I love, love, love it in this deck. It's the Mythic Tarot, and it's Pandora. And so it was when all was unleashed from the box, hope remained. And I'm going to leave this here because I just want you guys to really get a good image of that. We will make it through this by focusing on the light of the resistance. So stay focused on that. Do whatever you can to shine during this really shitty moment in time. We have a long, rich history of democracy, with the literal foundation of our country being overthrown. The literal foundation of our country was we overthrew a Mad King George. And it is not in the DNA of the American people to be ruled by a wannabe dictator. It just isn't. And so I will leave you with that thought, and remember, holding on to hope, be that light that shines. We are going to, this is what awaits us. Oh, wait, this one. This is what awaits us after the Tower card. So this is what we're going to hold on to. This is what we're going to stand in. This is our truth and our hope and our strength. And so I really appreciate you guys being here, and hang in there, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a great day.